Hi, everyone. My name is Marcy Scudder, and today I'll be sharing how we can use Claude AI as a safe, thoughtful, and creative tool in children's library spaces. This presentation is designed for elementary educators and youth librarians, especially those working in literacy programming, informal learning environments, and storytime settings. In these spaces, we're not just teaching skills, but we're also building curiosity, confidence, and a love of learning. As AI tools become more common, it's important that we explore how they can support, not replace, the human centered, relationship driven work that we do with children. Today, I'll walk through what Claude AI does, how it can be used in practice, and what we need to consider when using it responsibly. What the AI tool does. Claude AI is a generative AI tool that can perform a wide range of language based tasks. For example, it can analyze and revise text, generate original stories or lesson materials, and simplify complex information into more accessible language. One of its most useful features in an educational setting is its ability to adapt content. You can ask it to rewrite something for a specific age group, adjust the tone, or simplify vocabulary for emerging readers. Another important feature is that Claude is designed to produce responses that are helpful, honest, and harmless. This is especially important when we're thinking about tools that may be used in environments with children. However, while the tool is powerful, it's still dependent on how we guide it. The quality of what it produces depends heavily on the prompts we give it and the professional judgment we apply when reviewing its output. Demo evidence. For this demo, I asked Claude to explain photosynthesis for ages 3 to 5 using simple, playful language and interactive elements. It created a short story that describes plants as eating sunshine, which connects a complex idea to something familiar for young children. It also uses imaginative comparisons like leaves as little hands and roots as tiny straws to make the concept easier to understand. What really stood out is the engagement. The story includes sound effects, repetition, and built in questions, plus a movement activity where children act like growing plants. Overall, this shows how Claude can turn a complex topic into something fun, interactive, and developmentally appropriate while still supporting early learning goals. Teaching and learning applications. There are several practical ways Claude can be used in teaching and learning contexts within the library. First, for literacy support and scaffolding, it can generate comprehensive questions, create extension activities, and simplify text for struggling readers. This allows us to better meet the needs of diverse learners. Additionally, like other AI tools, it may generate inaccurate or overly generalized content. This means we always need to verify and revise what it produces. Finally, there's a risk of overuse. If we rely too heavily on AI, we may unintentionally reduce opportunities for human creativity and professional judgment. Benefits. There are several key benefits to using Claude in children's library settings. One of the most immediate is efficiency. It can significantly reduce the time needed to plan programs, allowing librarians to focus more on delivery and interaction. It also supports personalization because it can quickly adapt content to different reading levels, interests, and ages. It helps us meet learners where they are. Another important benefit is engagement. Interactive storytelling and co creation can make children more invested in the experience. Claude also supports accessibility by helping us create materials for a wider range of learners, including those who may need simplified language or additional scaffolding. Finally, it serves as a creative support tool. It can spark new ideas and expand what's possible in program design, especially when we're feeling stuck or short on time. Challenges and limitations. Despite these benefits, there are important challenges and limitations to consider. Claude is not always perfectly aligned with children's development levels, so we need to carefully review content to ensure it is appropriate for our audience. It also requires strong prompt design. Without clear and specific prompts, the output may be too general or not fully meet our needs. Another limitation is that Claude does not understand the specific context of our library or community. It doesn't know our audience, our values, or our programming goals unless we explicitly include that information. Critical issues and risks. There are broader ethical and practical risks to keep in mind. Privacy is a major concern. We should never enter personal or identifying information about children into AI tools. Accuracy is another issue. AI generated content should always be reviewed and verified before being shared with learners. We also need to think about academic integrity. AI should support student thinking, not replace it. Equity is another important consideration. Not all students or families have equal access to technology, so we need to be mindful of how and when we integrate these tools. Finally, bias is a known issue in AI systems. Because these tools are trained on large data sets, they may reflect existing biases, which means we need to approach outputs critically. Instructional tips. To use Claude effectively, there are a few key strategies to keep in mind. First, effective prompting is essential. Including details like age level, vocabulary expectations, and specific features, such as interactive questions, can significantly improve the quality of the output. Second, it's important to model responsible and critical use. When working with children, we can show them that AI is a tool that we question, revise, and build upon. Third, we should always treat AI generated content as a starting point, not a finished product. Reviewing and revising outputs ensures they align with our goals and our standards. By combining strong prompting with professional judgment, we can use Claude in a way that enhances learning while maintaining quality and integrity. Why use this tool? Claude enables several things that are difficult to achieve with traditional methods alone. It allows for real-time content creation, which means that we can respond quickly to children's interests and ideas during a program. It also supports responsive and adaptive storytelling, making it easier to adjust content on the spot. Another strength is the ability to integrate literacy and social emotional learning. For example, stories can simultaneously support reading skills and emotional development. Finally, it opens up new forms of interactive programming that are more participatory and flexible. Overall, Claude expands what's possible while still relying on us as educators to guide and shape the experience. To close, I'd like to leave you with a question to reflect on. How can we use AI tools like Claude to support children's creativity without limiting their imagination? This is really the balance we need to think about moving forward, using AI as a support for creativity while still preserving the originality, play, and human connection that are central to children's learning. Thank you for watching.